disciples of the Immortal Being Sect have already left the divine fallen ancient land. They have returned to the square of divine Descent City. However, they did not find Wang Maple at Yegu's Citadel, so they couldn't help but ask the sect leader, "Where is he?" Fly Dancing quickly replied respectfully to the sect leader. "He went deep into the divine fallen ancient land. He said he would come back before the end of the competition." And Monk No Thought also came to Enlightened Aspect Elder and spoke. "Elder, I have decided to join the Immortal Being Sect." Enlightened Aspect's gaze also fell on No Thought, but he showed no anger. "Have you made your decision?" No Thought immediately looked resolute and spoke again. "If the heart harbors Buddha, everywhere is Buddha." Enlightened Aspect saw No Thought's resolute expression and responded straightforwardly. "Then go ahead." Upon hearing this, No Thought's whole body trembled and respectfully bowed, expressing gratitude to Elder for his guidance. At this moment, in the Demon Ceiling list, Immortal Being Sect has already secured several seats in the top 10. The followers below couldn't help but start discussing. What is the background of the Immortal Being Sect after all? They have taken several of the top 10 seats by storm. Moreover, the No Thought from the Non-Form Sect and Lee Skyheart from the Skyheart Sect have both joined the Immortal Being Sect. It's unbelievable that the top beauty of the Skyheart Sect would betray them. The methods of this Immortal Being Sect are so powerful. Just then, a furious and sharp voice rang out. "Lee Skyheart, get over here!" Immediately, everyone turned to look upon hearing the voice, and it was the beautiful woman in the robe of the Skyheart Sect who had spoken. Lee Skyheart turned around calmly with a cold snort and said, "Since I have joined the Immortal Being Sect, I have nothing to do with the Skyheart Sect anymore." The beautiful woman's face immediately became extremely fierce and she roared, "How dare you betray the Skyheart Sect? You are seeking death!" Just then, Simon Snowfall suddenly opened his eyes. He glanced indifferently at the beautiful woman and said coldly, "The mosquitoes here sure are noisy." This sentence seemed to pour a bucket of cold water from head to toe, making the beautiful woman hold back her anger. She cannot forget Simon Snowfall's sword. She can't forget the miserable appearance of the elder from Eternity Sea Sect. In order to save her own life, she had to turn around and suppress her anger. General Xianlan suddenly discovered a very familiar name on the Demon Ceiling list. So he asked the soldier Ling Fly Dancing next to him, "This name seems familiar, doesn't it?" Little Godos quickly explained that Ling Fly Dancing of the Immortal Being Sect was the sole remnant of the Ling family in Radiant Wind City. Xianlan knew about the Ling family, even top sects feared them like snakes and scorpions. But he didn't expect the Immortal Being Sect to be so audacious, daring to even take in remnants of the Ling family. It's said that Marquis Chonglin's son was killed while chasing Ling family remnants, and Marquis Chonglin has yet to return for revenge. Now these Ling family remnants have appeared at the Demon Ceiling Assembly. What's going on? At that moment, Little Godos suddenly spoke up, reminding that the general heir apparent has not returned and there might be danger. However, Xianlan shook his head, indicating that the heir apparent's name still firmly held the top spot, showing that his life was not in danger. Even though Wang Maple from the Immortal Being Sect has also not returned, not to mention whether he has the capability. Even if he does, he wouldn't dare to harm the heir apparent in the slightest. However, at this moment, a terrifying momentum surged forth like raging waves, sweeping through the entire square. This made those powerful figures' faces change color, quickly protecting their own sect's disciples. The figure exuding a powerful aura completely descended upon the divine Descent City Square. All eyes turned towards it. Xianlan immediately narrowed his eyes. He was very familiar with these powerful beings who had descended. He never expected them to appear together here. The only person who could trigger Four Directions Hall and Eternity Sea Sect to deploy such a large formation must have offended the Immortal Being Sect of these two sects before. For Directions Hall is led by a burly middle-aged man with sharp eyes, who is none other than the Hall Master Shaochen. The third sect is led by an old man exuding an aura of majesty without anger, who is none other than the sect leader Lin Tianqing. The leader of the Eternity Sea sect is a fat man in Taoist robes, whose squinted eyes seem to shoot out cold light. He is Xianxia, the sect leader of Eternity Sea sect. Xiaochen took the lead in speaking to Qianlai. General Chen, we have no intention of disturbing the demon sealing assembly. We are only seeking revenge for our sect. We hope General can forgive us. The Immortal Being Sect has offended my son and crippled Elder Guixiong of the Four Directions Hall. The Immortal Being Sect killed the top genius Feng Black Ink of the Eternity Sea sect, killed Elder Chen of the Immortal Being Sect, and killed the top genius Yi Feng of the Feathered Sect. The Immortal Being Sect will perish today. Please make it easy for General Chen. Upon hearing this, Qianlai couldn't help but secretly think to himself that the Immortal Being Sect has given shelter to the Ling family's remnants. Today happens to be a good opportunity to use these three swords to test the true strength of the Immortal Being Sect. So he directly spoke up. I never interfere in other people's private grudges. It seems that General Chen has tacitly approved. Onlookers couldn't help but discuss it one after another. It seems like the Immortal Being Sect has gotten into some big trouble. But the Immortal Being Sect can attract so many other sects to besiege. Even if they are destroyed, they will be gloriously honored. Bamboo Lyre couldn't help but feel a bit worried and said to String's elder, Do you think we should take action? Then String's elder shook his head. They have to get through this by themselves. No one can help. The Immortal Being Sect is preparing to take serious action. They are facing a joint challenge from the three major sects. They only made a slight move and scared the people present. Just now, the three top sects joined forces. Three Mystic Emperor stage powerhouses and their sect disciples joined forces to destroy the Immortal Being Sect. But Simon Snowfall remained calm on the surface. He glanced at Lin Tianqing and the others, then made a gesture with his hand. Just saw the line drawn by Simon Snowfall about a meter in front of Lin Tianqing and others. Then he uttered indifferently, Those who cross the line shall die. Upon hearing this, Lin Tianqing and the others were stunned for a moment, and then burst into laughter. Even the members of the other sects laughed. Faced with the three top powerhouses, they dare to be so assertive. They really don't know what's good for them. Without strength, what qualifications do they have to be proud? Li Qing, the fatty, immediately showed a look of anger. Daring to insult our Immortal Being Sect, you are looking for death. And the Mystic Demon Overlord also laughed. As long as they dare to cross the line, the three elders will teach them how to spell the word death. Lin Tianqing also remained silent. He suddenly burst out with a strong momentum and overwhelming killing intent. Simon Snowfall then turned to the Yegu Citadel behind and asked, Which one do you choose? Yegu Citadel wasted no time either, and directly chose Feathered Sect leader Lin Tianqing. As soon as these words were spoken, the nearby little goddess immediately exploded. Is this guy choosing opponents on purpose? Their appearance looks more like they are picking vegetables at a market. And the Shadow Queen Zhu Jade Fox let out a silver bell-like laughter. I am destined to have a connection with Four Directions Hall, so I will choose them. The only one left is sect leader Xianxia of Eternity Sea sect. Simon Snowfall stood directly in front of him. Xianxia was already furious at this point. I want to see how you will deal with me. Simon Snowfall didn't waste any words and directly activated the sword chi to control the mosquitoes around him. Seeing this situation, nearby little goddess immediately panicked. Everyone must be careful of those mosquitoes later. He previously killed Elder Chen with only one mosquito. Simon Snowfall immediately made a move as soon as the words fell. He had not waited for Xianxia and others to react. He shot the mosquito in his hand out with a swift motion. The person named Little Goddess quickly activated Mystic Chi to block. But unexpectedly, the mosquito passed through the body in an instant. And another elder, after catching the mosquito, showed off by infusing sword chi into the mosquito, turning it into a substantial sword. Truly miraculous. However, even so, you cannot harm me at all. Just at that moment, The mosquito on his fingertip exploded violently, splitting into several terrifying sword chi. He was handsome for only 2.5 seconds before directly going GG. Simon Snowfall's move directly wiped out all the disciples of the Eternity Sea sect. The beauty from Skyheart sect was already scared to the point of urination at this moment. She couldn't help but secretly rejoice that she didn't make a move just now. Even Qianlai felt that he had underestimated the strength of Simon Snowfall. At that moment, Simon Snowfall suddenly said coldly, "The annoying mosquitoes are gone. You can see how I deal with you." Tian Sang was extremely angry at this point. I saw him suddenly swing a rope towards the sky and roar. "Today I, Tian Sang, will make the Immortal Being Sect pay with one life for another." As the rope descended from the sky, a giant fish-like creature suddenly emerged. Then, that kun quickly shrank. It floated slowly in Tian Sang's hand. Then Tian Sang swung kun out and roared, "Ninefold wave style!" This ordinary little kun. It actually inflated in just 2.5 seconds to the extent enough to crush the entire city. Just now, Eternity Sea sect leader Tian Sang unleashed his most powerful skill, Ninefold wave style kun. The chubby man immediately laughed when he saw the situation, saying, "You little fish also deserve to be called kun." Junior brother Mu asked your master to draw his sword and slay this little fish. Mu Floating Cloud immediately drew his sword, intending to act on behalf of Simon Snowfall. His sword, the Soaring Rainbow Sword, quickly shot towards the kun. But unexpectedly, that kun was easily split apart by him. Just when he felt that this kun was surprisingly weak, the scattered water instantly condensed and merged, forming a kun larger than a person. The monk No Thought immediately activated Buddhic Chi upon seeing the situation, ready to help Mu Floating Cloud. At the moment he raised his hand, a domineering palm strike was fiercely launched. Although he pierced through kun again, in the blink of an eye, that kun swiftly condensed, and its size was multiplied several times. Ling Fly Dancing couldn't help but ask in confusion, "Why is this fish getting bigger the more it gets hit?" Lin Skyheart immediately saw through the mystery. It seems to rely on absorbing the energy carried by the enemy's attacks to grow larger. Li Black also nodded and said, "As the saying goes, everything has its limits. After this fish's absorption ability reaches its peak, it will definitely self-destruct and scatter." With that, the fat man immediately jumped up high and gestured for everyone to attack together. Immortal Being Sect's disciples then all began to use their own techniques. The most powerful mystic arts all struck the giant kun. But the energy they emitted just couldn't make the kun burst. And Tian Sang also has no intention of letting go of the opportunity to slaughter the Immortal Being Sect. Under his manipulation, the giant kun immediately opened its huge mouth and bit towards the fat man. Just at this critical moment, Mystic Demon Overlord raised his hand and shattered the giant kun with one strike. However, obviously that giant kun has not yet reached its limit. Its body size suddenly swelled to dozens of meters in size. Yegu Citadel immediately spoke up. "That fish seems a bit strange. Do you need me to take action?" Simon Snowfall simply drew his own sword and responded indifferently, "I'll deal with him, no need." Simon Snowfall suddenly unleashed a chilling killing intent. At that moment, even the surrounding temperature dropped. Then a sword light, brilliant and swift. It carries sword chi that seems to chill the marrow. It directly struck on the body of the giant kun. The terrifying sword chi instantly shattered the giant kun. But unexpectedly, the giant kun crazily absorbed the energy of sword chi. In just a blink of an eye, the giant kun soared from a few dozen meters in size, to the extent of being able to cover the entire divine fallen ancient land. It emitted a terrifying aura all over its body. At this moment, String's elder suddenly spoke out. "With this sword, the outcome is already decided." Bamboo Lyre was shocked. This sword holds immense power, but at the same time, it's also feeding that kun, making it bigger. The larger it gets, the harder it will be to defeat it. But String shook his head. The outcome is already decided. The winner refers to Simon Elder. Have you forgotten where we are? Meanwhile, Xianxia was already laughing hysterically. I never expected your cultivation level to be so high, yet you are so foolish. You took the initiative to feed Kun until it became such a monstrous creature. But Simon Snowfall let out a disdainful laugh. I not only want your Kun to have enough to eat. We'll also make sure to feed Divine Fallen Ancient Land enough along with Kun. Seeing Kun suddenly falling from midair, Bamboo Lyre was shocked. What on earth is going on? Bamboo Strings then spoke up to explain. The gravity of Divine Fallen Ancient Land is greater than that of its surroundings. When Kun's body grows large enough to cover Divine Fallen Ancient Land, gravity will attract it to fall into the Divine Fallen Ancient Land. It will no longer be able to extricate itself from it until its destruction. This time, Xianxia is completely no longer calm. Just now, he said that he will only use one sword against me. Can this statement be true? Simon Snowfall responded indifferently. Indeed. Xianxia immediately smiled and said, Then you are not allowed to use a second sword. The fat man couldn't help but sigh at the words and said, Simon Elder, what's the point of talking about credibility with such people? Just then, Simon Snowfall slowly began to sheath his long sword. At the moment when the long sword was sheathed, an incredibly terrifying sword chi suddenly shot out. Xianxia didn't react at all, and was pierced through by the sword chi. Xianxia never expected that putting away the sword could also kill a person until his death. Seeing the scene, sect leader Lin Tiancheng of the Feathered Sect instantly became uneasy. He took a sword, and then he dealt with Tian sect leader again. Do I really have the strength to defeat him? Or perhaps it's the elder by his side. Does he also possess such terrifying strength? Xiao Chen's face also looks extremely ugly. It's all because this stinky brat is blind, and has offended the wrong person. I must break his bones later. General Chun, the demon sealing assembly is about to end. Is it not suitable to have a competition on the arena at this time? However, Chen Lai does not seem to intend to pay attention to him. And the surrounding little gagos immediately burst into laughter. Just now, who knows who said that the Immortal Being Sect must perish today, but is this how it ends? Sword God Simon Snowfall has destroyed the Eternity Sea Sect with one sword strike. Sword Immortal from Yegu Citadel has finally shown his true strength. His move Celestial Soaring Immortal scared all sects of the Empire from daring to come forward. Just now, Xiao Chen wanted General Chen Lai to stop the conflict between them and the Immortal Being Sect. But Chen Lai did not intend to listen to him. Although he was very flustered, he knew that he could not avoid this battle. Now he could only hope for the other elders of the Immortal Being Sect, none of whom possessed the strength of that Simon Elder. Just then, Simon Snowfall suddenly spoke up and asked, Do you need my help? But the Shadow Queen Zhu J. Fox let out a tinkling laugh and said, I just finished playing with someone else's elder, so it would be impolite for me to play with someone else's sect leader now. And Yegu Citadel also has no intention of letting Simon Snowfall help. I've finally caught an opponent, so I can't just give in easily. Lin Tiancheng immediately made a decision secretly. I cannot follow in the footsteps of Xianxia. I must first use the strong members within the sect to wear him down. Then Lin Tiancheng used the Ascended Winged Long, the 12th layer Long among men. Seeing only his feathers swiftly flying towards the disciples behind him. Then the feathers quickly enveloped everyone with great speed. In an instant, the disciples all turned into white flying dragons. Then all the white dragons suddenly flew out. At that moment, Yegu Citadel moved. He extended his slender hand, gripped the sword hilt, and pulled out the sword quickly. Then a clangorous sound erupted. A sword light flashed across in front of the white long. The white long was immediately flustered. But to everyone's surprise, nothing happened after being struck by the sword. Immediately, the white long burst into laughter, thinking that your sword was very powerful. But as soon as he finished speaking, The gravitational force around him increased dramatically, and he was directly crushed to the ground. Lin Tianqing quickly spoke up when he saw the situation, reminding everyone not to be hit by the sword, otherwise, their bodies would continue to plummet. But before he could finish his sentence, Yegu Citadel had already chopped all the sword chi onto the group of white longs. The originally aggressive group of white longs all fell to the ground in an instant. He got rid of those troublesome guys. Yegu Citadel immediately arrived in front of Lin Tianqing and said coldly, "Now there is only you left." But Lin Tianqing does not seem to be in a rush. With them to waste you, the victory is not guaranteed. Then mystic chi surges throughout his body. Black feathers suddenly appeared, swirling in front of him. Then those black feathers all adhered to his body. He instantly transformed into a huge black dragon, soaring into the sky. Lin Tianqing immediately let out a roar, his whole body bursting with an extremely violent aura. Then, with his mouth wide open like a dragon, he tore towards Yegu Citadel. Suddenly, the dragon's mouth landed at the location of Yegu Citadel. Ling Fly Dancing quickly begged Simon Elder to help save her master. But Simon Snowfall coldly replied, "I will not save him, because he simply doesn't need me to intervene and save him." As the smoke cleared, only to see the long sword in Yegu Citadel's hand pointing straight at the tip of Black Long's tongue, preventing him from making any progress. Black Long felt the intense pain at the tip of his tongue. Lin Tianqing's pupils constricted in an instant. What move is this? Yegu Citadel's indifferent face slowly uttered celestial soaring immortal long soaring in the heavens. His voice had just fallen. Sudden burst of extremely strong sword chi erupted from the long sword. He directly blasted the enormous Black Long into the air. Lin Tianqing regretted it deeply. He didn't expect that any random elder from the Immortal Being Sect would be so formidable. Don't even mention that they only killed a genius from the Feathered Sect. Even if they had wiped out all the geniuses from the Feathered Sect, I should have acted like nothing happened. It's just a pity that I realized it too late. The Shadow Queen from the legend is finally going to make a move. She tightly clamped her long legs together. She then squeezed the head of the enemy sect leader. Just now, Yegu Citadel used the celestial soaring immortal technique, long soaring in the heavens. He instantly killed Feathered Sect leader Lin Tianqing with one sword. Bamboo Lyre couldn't help but exclaim in shock. The Elder Yegu from the Immortal Being Sect is as terrifying as Elder Simon. Strings also nodded in agreement. Getting involved with the Immortal Being Sect is truly seeking death. The sect leader of the Four Directions Hall immediately had an ugly expression and said, "It's a good thing your opponent is not the Elder from the Immortal Being Sect." Upon hearing this, Xiaoqin immediately raised his hand and slapped him. Then he said angrily, "You are going to ruin the Four Directions Hall." In the past, only we have managed to suppress the forces that offended the Four Directions Hall to the point of extinction throughout the sect. I never expected that we would be driven to such a desperate situation by this mysterious Immortal Being Sect. And how do you know that woman, and whether she might be stronger than this elder? If the Four Directions Hall is destroyed today, I will kill you first to pay tribute." After finishing speaking, Xiaoqin did not waste any more time and directly raised his fist to strike towards the Shadow Queen Zhu Jade Fox. However, Zhu Jade Fox moved her feet, and the ribbons on her body instantly entangled Xiaoqin's arm. However, Xiaoqin let out a low roar and split into three figures. The giant fist continuously struck, causing Zhu Jade Fox to immediately fall into a disadvantageous position. The heavy punches continued to rain down on her, and due to her weak physique, a hint of blood spilled forth immediately. Zhu Jade Fox immediately leaped backward decisively, putting some distance between them. She saw that the other party could hurt her, and Zhu Jade Fox immediately showed a look of admiration. And Xiaoqin decisively manipulated three clones to block all of Zhu Jade Fox's retreats and attack her together. Then four fists suddenly struck together, but Zhu Jade Fox's body stood motionless in place. He looked at Zhu Jade Fox, whose body was cut in half. Xiaoqin was immediately dumbfounded. Just as he was shocked, Zhu J. Fox suddenly kicked those clones flying. Then she spread her legs apart. She firmly clamped the 3 clones between her legs. Just at that moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. "Can you help me perform the Heavenly Demon Dissolution from the Heavenly Demon Great Technique? You still count as an honor even in death." She had just finished speaking. Zhu J. Fox immediately began to pull on the ribbon in her hand. Just in the blink of an eye, the arms of the 3 split bodies were entwined by the ribbon. Xiaoqin was in a panic the moment she saw the situation, and she immediately killed the demon woman of the 4 Directions Hall. Just then, Zhu J. Fox clapped his hands suddenly. The voice of the heavenly demon with added psychedelic effects instantly filled the whole venue. Under the control of Zhu J. Fox, all of the little gagas from the 4 Directions Hall have without exception fallen into the illusion. Then Zhu J. Fox suddenly began to tug on the ribbon in her hand. Everyone in the 4 Directions Hall. The arms were abruptly and forcibly torn off at this moment. Zhu J. Fox then let out a satisfied laugh after the deed was done. The 4 Directions Hall now only has a one-armed person left. Might as well rename it One-Armed Hall. Elder Guixiong was scared to the point of wetting himself the moment he saw this scene. Luckily, my right arm had already been severed before this happened. And Xiaoqin was already furious at this point. The principle of the 4 Directions Hall is to retaliate in kind. Even if I cannot kill you, I will still cut off your right arm. I see Xiaoqin approaching. Zhu J. Fox immediately gathered all the broken arms on the ribbon together. Then she unleashed Heavenly Demon Merge and forcibly merged those arms onto Xiaoqin's body. The Immortal Being Sect finally started a full-scale war with the Solar Radiance Empire. Didn't expect that the disciples were caught off guard at the very beginning of the war. Even the sect elder was firmly controlled by the Empire General. Just now, the Shadow Queen Zhu J. Fox fought alone against the 4 Directions Hall and used the mystic art Heavenly Demon Merge to turn Xiaoqin into a monster. Under Zhu J. Fox's control, they also began to ruthlessly slaughter their own sect disciples. At this moment, he simply couldn't control himself. He personally snapped his own son's bones. Zhu J. Fox looked very satisfied with his masterpiece. And Xiaoqin never dreamed that 4 Directions Hall would be a top-tier major sect. In the end, it perished because of one person. The onlookers instantly boiled over. This Immortal Being Sect is really too terrifying. Her cultivation method is so mysterious. Could it be that she is a member of the demon race? Immediately, everyone turned to General Xianlan and requested him to eliminate Zhu J. Fox, this dark witch. But the fat man Li Qing was very arrogant, saying, "This Grand General is at most at the Mystic Emperor stage pinnacle. Each of us sect elders are at the pinnacle stage. Why should we be afraid of him?" Yegu Citadel said solemnly, "Indeed, his superficial cultivation level is like that, but his actual cultivation level is even beyond my perception. Before the sect leader returns, it's best for us not to provoke him." Just then, Xianlan suddenly spoke up. "This woman's unusual cultivation method is not that of the demon race." The disciples of the Immortal Being Sect immediately breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. However, at this moment, the demon ceiling list suddenly appeared. The moment Xianlan noticed the change in the list, his pupils immediately constricted. He immediately gestured for the Flame Army to surround the Immortal Being Sect. Mystic Demon Overlord immediately furrowed his brows upon seeing this. "Didn't you just say Elder Zhu is not a member of the demon race?" Xianlan pointed at the demon ceiling list and shouted, "Just now, the name of the heir apparent was..." Suddenly disappeared from the list. The person who has the ability to kill the heir apparent. Only the Immortal Being Sect leader Wang Maple, who has not returned yet. As soon as this was said, the Flame Army below immediately attacked Immortal Being Sect and others. Of course, the group of disciples would not stand idly by. One by one, they all took action to repel the Flame Army. The Mystic Demon Overlord even swept away a large group of soldiers with one swing of his staff. Bamboo Lyre couldn't help but be stunned by the scene, thinking that the flame army is perhaps too weak. But String shook his head. Do you know why the flame army is called the Undead Legion? Because they can convert damage into weapons that cause harm. The brow of Bamboo Lyre immediately furrowed, so they can emerge unscathed. They can also acquire the enemy's attacking skills. At this time, Fatty's heart was filled with an inexplicable feeling. Sure enough, one of the soldiers suddenly launched an attack towards him. Although he easily blocked this sword. But he could never have imagined that the opponent would actually sneak attack him from behind. Due to the large number of troops in the flame army, everyone immediately fell into a passive situation. Even Mystic Demon Overlord was beaten to the point of spraying blood. Even Lee Skyheart, Moo Floating Cloud, and Lead Black. They were also suppressed by the flame army. Strings immediately looked gloomy upon seeing this. The Immortal Being Sect is afraid that it is doomed this time. Although everyone has the strength of the Royal Lord stage, they are really no match for the large number of opponents. However, Immortal Being Sect still has 3 Mystic Emperor stage Pinnacle Elders who have not made a move yet. They have the upper hand with a 3-against-1 situation. But String showed a bitter smile. Not really. On the surface, it seems like they have surrounded General Xianlan and gained the upper hand. In reality, they are being controlled by General Xianlan. The eyes are burning with fierce flames. He actually possesses the terrifying ability to infinitely replicate the opponent's mystic art. Just now, 3 elders of the Immortal Being Sect were controlled by General Xianlan. The disciples of the Immortal Being Sect, who are besieged by the flame army. At this moment, they can only save themselves. Moo Floating Cloud obviously realized that something was wrong and quickly gestured for everyone to hold on desperately. They will be safe as long as they hold on until the sect leader returns. Just when the flame army is about to attack, Yegu Citadel suddenly pulled out the long sword in his hand. Just saw a cold light suddenly passing by, a strike of celestial soaring immortal slashing towards flame army. Flame army struck by sword chi immediately began to float up. Yegu Citadel then solemnly said, "You guys should hold on first." At this moment, Xianlan suddenly opened his eyes and indifferently said, "Interesting, then I will join in too." In the moment his eyes turned into fiery red, he executed the technique. As clear as seeing fire. The next moment, sword chi coiled around Xianlan's body as he astonishingly executed the technique. Celestial Soaring Immortal. The next moment, the sword chi that had originally trapped the flame army was instantly undone by Xianlan. The surging flames attack immediately surged towards everyone. Seeing Ling Fly Dancing about to be hit, the fat guy decisively used the grafting flowers and branches skill. Just saw Ling Fly Dancing's body starting to fade. Just in the blink of an eye, Fatty appeared in the position where Ling Fly Dancing was. After being transferred, Ling Fly Dancing was suddenly stunned. "How are you?" The fat man quickly assured that he was fine. He couldn't help but secretly rejoice that he had learned the move from his master, the grafting flowers and branches, which allowed him to adjust his position. Otherwise, he couldn't have saved Fly Dancing Jr.'s sister. At the same time, Yegu Citadel had already attacked Xianlan and questioned him why he had used his unique skill. Xianlan easily dodged Yegu Citadel's unique skill as clear as seeing fire. Once he demonstrated it, it was no longer a unique skill in the world. Simon Snowfall was secretly shocked to see such a mysterious unique skill that could replicate others' unique skills with just one glance. We must act swiftly to end this battle. Simon Snowfall decisively drew his sword and attacked Xianlan. However, just as Simon Snowfall was about to stab Xianlan, Xianlan's eyes suddenly flashed with a fierce red light. Simon Snowfall immediately sensed that something was wrong. Xianlan immediately used grafting flowers and branches to swap positions with Yegu Citadel. Then Xianlan copied the formless sword of Simon Snowfall and said coldly, "Now it's time to use your unique skill." As soon as he finished speaking, Xianlan immediately slashed a sword towards Simon Snowfall. But at this moment, the Shadow Queen Zhu Jade Fox suddenly descended from the sky and stomped on Xianlan with a burst of force. Seizing the opportunity, Simon Snowfall quickly drew his own long sword. Then he turned around and swiftly attacked Xianlan with lightning speed. However, at that moment, Xianlan once again used the grafting flowers and branches technique. After swapping positions, he grabbed Zhu Jade Fox in one move. Simon Snowfall's long sword had already surged unstoppably towards her. At this critical moment, Zhu Jade Fox timely used Heavenly Demon Dissolution. The formless sword successfully stabbed into Xianlan's body. What shocked Simon Snowfall is that his sword actually couldn't penetrate Xianlan's armor. Xianlan then grabbed Zhu Jade Fox's ribbon. He used the Heavenly Demon Merge to forcibly merge her body. Simon Snowfall's face changed drastically upon seeing this. "Hold on a little longer, I will draw my sword immediately." Just at that moment, his arm actually made a cracking sound and detached on its own. The man finally returned from the divine fallen ancient land. And he also made a grand entrance with his wife. Just now, Zhu Jade Fox was controlled by Xianlan and used to block Formless Sword. Simon Snowfall tried to withdraw the long sword but found that his arm was actually detached. Obviously, he has been affected by Xianlan's Heavenly Demon Dissolution technique. And Xianlan took advantage of the situation to stab Simon Snowfall with a sword. However, Yegu Citadel quickly stepped forward and caught him in time. Just after a few brief exchanges, Zhu Jade Fox was already severely injured. Xianlan, on the other hand, was in a superior position, claiming, "Since you are both severely injured, I will allow you to fight together." Yegu Citadel's expression turned ugly immediately, saying, "Whatever moves we use next will be copied by him. Then let's decide the winner with our final strike." Simon Snowfall, without wasting words, directly unleashed 10,000 swords unite from Radiant Sword Path. Under his mental manipulation, 10,000 sword chi instantly gathered into an immensely huge long sword and pierced down from the sky. Just as Xianlan was about to draw his sword to confront it, Yegu Citadel suddenly struck out with a horizontal sword slash. Celestial Soaring Immortal Submerge instantly trapped Xianlan. The mighty sword chi immediately pressed down on Xianlan's body, making cracking sounds, but he forcibly withstood the pressure, pulling out the long sword in his hand abruptly. However, just at that moment, Zhu Jade Fox, who had collapsed on the ground, struggled to get up. She flung out all the ribbons, wrapping them around. She had no intention of giving Xianlan any chance to draw his sword. At the same time, Simon Snowfall's fingers swung down violently. The huge formless sword filled with terrifying sword chi instantly accelerated and stabbed down, only to see Xianlan directly withstand this sword with his physical body. The formless sword directly cut open half of his body. But Xianlan let out a cold laughter. "Impressive, the Immortal Being Sect actually has such a skilled elder. If your opponent were not me, I'm afraid you would be the ones laughing in the end. Raise an army for 1,000 days, only to use it in one moment. If you can die by this sword, it would not have been in vain." As soon as the words fell, flames instantly ignited on the flame army below, and the fire of their lives burst forth, all converging on Xianlan's body. And Xianlan, with half of his body split open. Just in the blink of an eye, it healed as good as new. Then, he suddenly slapped towards Simon Snowfall and the others. The three who were already seriously injured were instantly slapped away. String saw the three, who were gasping for air and looking very embarrassed. Elder Bamboo Strings couldn't help but sigh secretly, thinking that the elder of the Immortal Being Sect was already strong enough, but unexpectedly, he still couldn't match General Xianlan. The beautiful woman from the Skyheart sect laughed heartily. This time, unless an immortal comes to their rescue, they will be unable to escape the fate of sect destruction. But String suddenly spoke up and interrupted. "You are celebrating too soon. Although I am not sure if Immortal can save the Immortal Being Sect, I think that if it is him, he will definitely be able to." As soon as these words were spoken, Everyone immediately looked towards the direction indicated by strings in unison. Simon Snowfall and the others' originally tense hearts completely relaxed at this moment, only to see Wang Maple carrying a gorgeous figure appeared in the sky above the square. When Yi Muqing's face became clear in the eyes of everyone present, the whole square fell into silence, a deathly silence. And Wang Maple directly signaled for the system to assist the several elders below in treating their injuries. In just the blink of an eye, the injuries on the people of Yedu Citadel have already healed. The man is taking his wife to face the Empire's general. He just asked Higanbana Firefly to make a slight move. He beat Xianlan step by step. Just now, Wang Maple hurried back to Divine Fallen Square with his wife in time. And he directly healed the injuries of Yedu Citadel and others. A group of disciples quickly stepped forward to pay their respects upon seeing this. The tense hearts of the crowd immediately relaxed. However, Wang Maple did not rush to introduce Yi Muqing. Instead, he is planning to first meet with General Xianlan. When Xianlan saw Wang Maple, his face immediately revealed a murderous look. "Did you kill the heir apparent?" Wang Maple shrugged indifferently and said, "Didn't you personally announce that there were no restrictions for this demon sealing assembly? Even if I did kill the heir apparent, I wouldn't have broken any rules." As soon as these words were spoken, Xianlan exploded. "I just wanted to watch a good show, but you didn't know how to appreciate kindness and dragged me into the play. Well, then I'll play with you properly." Facing the enemy Wang Maple who dared to hurt the Immortal Being Sect, Xianlan directly used the palm of the Tathagata to prepare to strike and kill him. But Xianlan immediately used as clear as seeing fire. At the first moment, he used the copied palm of the Tathagata to confront Wang Maple head-on. Wang Maple suddenly felt confused. Yi Muqing suddenly chuckled, as he could begin to perceive the heavenly and earthly law. The technique he had just used, as clear as seeing fire, was a law that could be used to master any technique in art. Wang Maple did not expect that Xianlan had already stepped into the Mystic Lord stage. While Yi Muqing explained again that he can only be considered as having half of his foot in the Mystic Lord stage at most, or just a half step into the Mystic Lord stage. Upon hearing this, Wang Maple immediately laughed. Since it's not a real Mystic Lord stage, there is nothing to fear. At the same time, Xianlan's body was surging with mystic chi. The crimson Dharma form of the Buddha instantly crossed his hands and pressed down towards Wang Maple. Wang Maple, however, remained calm and composed in response. He opened his palms directly and met the attack head-on. The disciples worked together to heal the fat man, who was seriously injured. Before the fat man could be touched, Li Black said, "Sect leader, with the cultivation level at the pinnacle of the Mystic Emperor stage, I'm afraid there's no chance of winning against Xianlan. In case sect leader's martial arts are broken, you will have to come up with a counterattack plan using the grafting flowers and branches technique for sect leader." Just when the fat man was in a panic, Simon Snowfall suddenly spoke. "The sect leader is even more unfathomable than you think." At the same time, the crimson Buddha palm that was battling Wang Maple suddenly made a cracking sound. Then, the golden mystic chi suddenly burst out, blasting the blood-colored Buddha statue into pieces. Xianlan was shocked when he saw this. "My cultivation level stage is higher than yours. How could you break my palm of the Tathagata?" Wang Maple laughed out loud. "Even though you can learn my palm of the Tathagata, there are some things that you cannot learn." Only a golden tiny dot suddenly appeared among the fragments of the shattered blood-red Buddha statue. The one who broke Buddha's manifestation turned out to be a Higanbana firefly. Xianlan immediately understood the situation and thought to himself, "I underestimated you. You actually hid such an interesting little thing. But speaking of interesting things, I also have one." As soon as the words fell, a sinister and eerie crimson long snake surged out from the long sword, suddenly attaching itself to the sword and extending dozens of meters. The long sword instantly transformed into a huge long knife. The long knife fiercely chopped down towards the position where Wang Maple was. However, Wang Maple was well prepared. Tathagata's manifestation raised both hands in front of him. It held up the long knife. But at that moment, a fierce black flame suddenly burst from the long knife, shattering Buddha's manifestation. Then Xianlan shouted loudly. At the moment when Buddha's manifestation was broken, the long knife fell on Wang Maple. The legendary treasure, the Yellow Springs Higanbana, is actually hidden on the body of an Immortal Being Sect disciple. Just now, Xianlan casually broke Tathagata Dharma form with a single slash. He even injured Wang Maple. And Wang Maple is very puzzled about why my palm of the Tathagata disappeared out of thin air. Xianlan, on the other hand, sneered and said that the karmic flame cursed long fused with the heavenly and earthly law can cause your mystic chi to disperse on its own with a single condensation. Without the support of mystic chi, all extraordinary skills are like water without a source. At this moment, Wang Maple suddenly spoke up and asked how much time was left until the end of the competition. Xianlan immediately laughed when he heard this. You are so calm even facing death, yet you are still concerned about this. He explained that when the incense burned out completely, the competition would officially end. Wang Maple quickly began to calculate in his mind based on the thickness and length of the incense, estimating that it would take another 15 minutes to burn out completely. I must hold on until the incense burns out, wait for the system to calculate the rewards, and then have a chance to turn the tables. But at this moment, Xianlan once again raised his long knife and said coldly, The incense is about to burn out, but your life will definitely be shorter than this incense. Although Wang Maple wanted to dodge. But karmic flame cursed long caused his mystic chi to dissipate on its own, making it impossible for him to move at all. However, at this critical moment, Li Qing suddenly flew out and stood in front of Wang Maple. Immediately, Li Qing let out a tragic scream and sprayed out a large mouthful of blood. Wang Maple's face immediately turned ugly when he saw this. Li Qing, who asked you to block the knife for me? But the fat man forced a smile through the pain and said, Who asked me to possess the body of the mystic spirit turtle immortal? If I don't come out to block it, who else can come to block it? All the disciples present immediately had a change in expression upon seeing this. Xianlan wasted no time and quickly raised his hand to strike out the second move. Wang Maple immediately picked up the fat man and then swung out Higanbana Firefly to defend. However, Higanbana Firefly was easily bounced back after colliding with the long knife. Wang Maple was dumbfounded at once, never expected that even Higanbana Firefly would be equally affected. Just then, Ling Fly Dancing suddenly rushed out from the side. She stood resolutely in front of Wang Maple. And the long sword wielded by Xianlan was something she couldn't possibly block. The long sword dissipated, and Ling Fly Dancing was already heavily injured and fell to the ground. Although Lin Skyheart fed her a healing Dan. But Ling Fly Dancing was injured too severely, my Dan pill simply didn't work. And Wang Maple also anxiously gestured for the system to quickly heal Ling Fly Dancing. But the system prompted that the host's sect point had been spent and unable to heal Ling Fly Dancing. Wang Maple immediately became worried, as the demon sealing assembly was about to end in less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. I will have sect points credited to me soon. I want to advance some sect points in advance. But the system responded that rules are rules, and couldn't meet his request. However, at that moment, Yi Muqing suddenly arrived by Ling Fly Dancing's side and comforted him. There's no need to fuss over nothing. She will be fine immediately. The next second, Ling Fly Dancing's chest suddenly started to shine with golden light, followed by a golden and peculiar flower slowly floating out from her body. Everyone present was instantly stunned. But the mystic demon overlord seemed to have remembered something, and couldn't help but let out a cry of astonishment. Is this the legendary artifact of the Ling family? Wang Maple couldn't help but curiously ask, What's going on? Yi Muqing immediately smiled and said, Your disciple possesses a legendary artifact called the Yellow Springs Higanbana. When her life is in danger, and she steps onto the path of the Yellow Springs, she can awaken the Yellow Springs Higanbana. From then on, whenever the host is injured, it will draw in the surrounding mystic chi to heal the host. The more severe the injury, the more mystic chi will flow in. By the time the host recovers, their cultivation level will greatly increase. Upon hearing this, the crowd from the Immortal Being Sect quickly gathered around Ling Fly Dancing, allowing her to absorb the mystic chi for healing more quickly. In just a short while, the terrifying wound on Ling Fly Dancing's body has already healed. And at this moment, Xianlan also spoke to Wang Maple. I was not mistaken. The yellow spring-sicken banner of the Ling family is indeed on Ling Fly Dancing. How about we make a deal? If you hand over the yellow spring-sicken banner, I will spare the Immortal Being Sect. Upon hearing this, Wang Maple immediately coldly snorted. The yellow spring-sicken banner is grown on her. How could it be handed over? Xianlan, however, remained indifferent and said coldly, Kill her, and I will naturally be able to retrieve it. The boy decisively went all in and drew 100 times in the moment of life and death. After going through the cultivation level obtained through the draw, he finally broke through the bottleneck of the Mystic Emperor stage. Becoming the legendary Mystic Lord stage powerhouse, Fly Dancing was on the brink of death just now. The yellow Springs-Higan Banna unexpectedly awakened and saved her. When everyone saw Ling Fly Dancing's wound healed, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, impatient Xianlan suddenly shouted, Sect Leader Wang, exchanging one person for so many lives in the Immortal Being Sect, isn't it very worthwhile? What are you waiting for? The momentum erupted by Xianlan instantly filled the entire venue. The already injured Wang Maple instantly felt a surge within his body. At this moment, Ling Fly Dancing, who had just recovered from a serious injury, immediately struggled and said, My life was given by the sect leader, and revenge is taken by the sect leader on my behalf. I am Ling Fly Dancing. I am willing to offer up the Yellow Springs-Higan Banna wholeheartedly. Upon hearing this, Xianlan immediately nodded in satisfaction. The Immortal Being Sect truly has excellent guidance. When disciples are so sensible, things become much easier. Wang Maple, on the other hand, knocked Ling Fly Dancing on the head in annoyance. If the Immortal Being Sect has to rely on sacrificing the lives of its disciples to protect itself, what right does it have to call itself the Immortal Being Sect? As soon as these words were spoken, Ling Fly Dancing was immediately moved and choked up, saying, You are the sect leader. Even Yi Muqing couldn't help but praise out loud. Truly my husband Wang Maple. Wang Maple muttered to himself secretly. I, after all, have external help. I can't even protect my own people. Wouldn't I be embarrassing the time travelers? Then Wang Maple's expression turned serious as he pointed at Xianlan and shouted, I will definitely break your karmic flame curse long. But Xianlan coldly chuckled and said, Unless your cultivation level surpasses half a step Mystic Lord stage, it's impossible to escape from this karmic flame curse long. And you can forget about ever stepping into the Mystic Lord stage in this lifetime. But Wang Maple refused to believe it, and raised his hand to once again activate the mystic chi within his body. Just then, he suddenly clapped his hands together. Tathagata's manifestation appeared out of nowhere, enduring the scorching flames of the karmic flame curse long. No thought couldn't help but cry out in astonishment as Buddha's manifestation continued to be burned and consumed. It seems that the sect leader is still unable to suppress the karmic flame curse long. At the same time, the body of Buddha's manifestation began to shrink continuously under the devouring of the karmic flame curse long. Just in the blink of an eye, the enormous Buddha's manifestation now only has 2 normal-sized arms left. Xianlan immediately saw through Wang Maple's thoughts. Is he concentrating the limited mystic chi only on his palms for the final strike? The next moment, the hands of Tathagata's manifestation suddenly clapped fiercely. Its hands came together and struck towards Xianlan. The terrifying palm wind instantly swept through the whole area. Zhu J. Fox couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. While there is only a step difference between the half-step Mystic Lord stage and the Mystic Emperor stage pinnacle, the disparity is as clear as the difference between heaven and earth. As Zhu J. Fox predicted, although Wang Maple's palm of the Tathagata was powerful, it was still shattered by a single slash from Xianlan. and Xianlan spoke again at this moment. Immortal Being Sect, you have failed. But Wang Maple wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled faintly. No, I have succeeded. The target that the palm of the Tathagata wanted to deal with was never you. It's the incense behind you that the palm of the Tathagata aimed to deal with. The palm wind accelerated the burning of that incense. Now that the incense is burned out, it means that the demon sealing assembly has ended. Xianlan smiled at the words. So what if the competition is over? What does it have to do with breaking the karmic flame curse along with you? Upon hearing this, Wang Maple immediately smiled confidently. The relationship between the two is significant. After speaking, he directly signaled the system to use 100,000 sect points to exchange for 100 lottery draws, and started drawing right away. He drew all the cultivation levels of the various elders in one go. The quantity is so numerous that it's impossible to count them all. Wang Maple didn't hesitate at all. He directly transferred all cultivation level onto himself. Instantly, the immensely majestic mystic chi was all poured into his body. And the karmic flame curse long that was originally attached to his body. It was also extinguished by the infused mystic chi. Wang Maple instantly revived with full health. And his stage clearly became much more profound. When karmic flame curse long suddenly began to dissipate, Xianlan immediately exclaimed, How were you able to dispel the karmic flame curse long? Wang Maple then clenched his fist tightly, and with a cold smile on his face, he said, Because I just had a fortunate breakthrough and advanced to the Mystic Lord stage. He helps the other party quickly improve their cultivation level. He even waits for her to raise her cultivation level to the Mystic Lord stage. Just now, Wang Maple used 100 consecutive draws to obtain a large number of cultivation levels. He forcibly raised his cultivation level to the Mystic Lord stage by relying on the system's ability to infuse cultivation levels. Xianlan was instantly no longer calm. You clearly just reached the pinnacle cultivation level of the Mystic Emperor stage, and haven't even touched the shadow of the half-step Mystic Lord. How is it possible to step into the Mystic Lord stage in an instant? And the beautiful woman of the Sky Heart sect was scared to the point of peeing. The sect leader of the Immortal Being Sect is unexpectedly stronger than General Xianlan. Doesn't that mean that no one can wipe out the Immortal Being Sect? Just then, Wang Maple suddenly flashed and stepped on the beautiful woman's hand, coldly saying, You are an elder of the Sky Heart sect, right? If you want to destroy our Immortal Being Sect, why bother using others? You can do it yourself. The beautiful woman immediately panicked and explained, Sect leader Wang, I was just joking. Even if I had the ability, I wouldn't be able to destroy the Immortal Being Sect. But Wang Maple suddenly pointed to her forehead and smiled. Why don't you give it a try? How do you know it won't work unless you try? After saying that, Wang Maple's finger suddenly shot out a golden light. The golden light directly penetrated into the body of the beautiful woman. However, the beautiful woman was not injured. She instead felt the mystic chi throughout her body begin to operate wildly. And Wang Maple spoke again. As long as you absorb enough mystic chi, you can advance to the Mystic Lord stage, and at that time, it is not impossible to think about wiping out my Immortal Being Sect. The beautiful woman hurriedly started to suck in a deep breath when she heard the words. After she found out that what Wang Maple said was indeed true, she was suddenly filled with excitement. The mystic chi within my body is truly growing rapidly. I can truly advance to the Mystic Lord stage, and then, with Xianlan's cooperation, we can destroy the Immortal Being Sect. Wang Maple immediately burst into laughter upon seeing the situation. You seem really eager to destroy us since you're in such a rush. Unfortunately, your body seems unable to handle so much mystic chi. And the beauty also noticed that her body was rapidly expanding. Sect leader Wang, what's happening? The mystic chi I absorbed cannot be released. Wang Maple immediately raised an eyebrow and explained to her, I just sped up the rate at which you absorb mystic chi. I did not speed up the rate at which you release mystic chi. So the more you want to kill us, the faster it strengthens. And the beautiful woman is now in extreme pain, and the speed of her body swelling is continuously accelerating. Just a moment. Her body was instantly burst apart by a massive amount of mystic chi. Lee Skyheart was dumbfounded at this point. The existence I once looked up to died so easily. Even Elder Bamboo Liar couldn't help but exclaim. Sect leader Wang actually just used a simple inhale to kill a powerful Mystic Lord stage expert. It's so terrifying. But this move seems to have no effect on Xianlan, because even if he doesn't breathe, he's fine. He fiercely strikes back with Blade Chi, aiming it at Wang Maple. Wang Maple immediately kicked the ground as he saw this. Then he kicked away one of the broken pieces of wood and said with a faint smile, "If one move doesn't work, then try another." The originally invincible Blade Chi was unexpectedly dismantled so easily by the broken piece of wood kicked away by Wang Maple. Xianlan finally felt fear. Is this the power of the Mystic Lord stage? Even a wood chip can repel a half-step Mystic Lord stage, but Wang Maple just chuckled disdainfully. You overestimate your own strength. Believe it or not, any disciple of this sect can easily defeat you. Upon hearing this, Xianlan immediately became angry. I believe that I am not as good as your sect leader, but there is absolutely no way I am inferior to the disciples within your sect. However, Wang Maple disagreed and gestured towards Move Floating Cloud, indicating for Move Floating Cloud to come over. You should go up and meet him. He also gave a reassuring push to the slightly flustered Move Floating Cloud and encouraged. Rest assured, I am here. He cannot hurt you. Xianlan had never suffered such humiliation before. He immediately roared, I want to see how a mere Royal Lord stage can defeat a half-step Mystic Lord stage. As soon as he finished speaking, Xianlan quickly made a move with his sword. He unleashed his entire body's mystic chi and slashed towards Move Floating Cloud, who had no choice but to frantically channel his mystic chi and meet the attack with the long sword in his hand. He faced this terrifying strike. The long sword in Move Floating Cloud's hand instantly shattered. But he did not receive much damage. Xianlan, upon feeling intense pain in his body, immediately roared unwillingly. He unexpectedly couldn't even defeat the Royal Lord stage. The terrifying demon appeared in the world again. Even Wang Maple of the Mystic Lord stage felt the pressure this time. Just now, Move Floating Cloud from the Royal Lord stage severely wounded General Xianlan, who is at the half-step Mystic Lord stage. At this moment, his Tao heart is already shattered. He didn't expect that he couldn't even defeat a weakling from the Royal Lord stage. However, he quickly understood the reason. What kind of power of law did you just use on me? Upon hearing this, Wang Maple immediately smiled faintly and said, After people enter the early stage of the Mystic Lord stage, people can strengthen or weaken the rules. When you attack an object, the object will also generate a corresponding reaction force. Now I have enhanced your reaction force. I made it so that even attacking a block of tofu will result in severe injury for you. After saying that, Wang Maple pointed to Xianlan with a loud thud. So, you will undoubtedly die today. However, Xianlan remained calm and instead confidently shouted back. No! Today, undoubtedly will die, is everyone here? Upon hearing this, Wang Maple burst into laughter immediately. Where do you get the confidence to say such nonsense? However, Xianlan responded in a deep voice. Do you know who the lineage of Yi Feng's demon cultivation comes from? It was personally passed down to him by me. As soon as these words were spoken, Monk No Thought's pupils immediately contracted. He recalled the scene where Yi Feng transformed into a demon. And Xianlan then spoke again, stating that the reason he applied to be stationed in the Divine Fallen Ancient Land originally was because the mystic demon overlord was sealed here. Even if his demon refining leaked demonic chi, he could blame it on the mystic demon overlord. Upon hearing this, the mystic demon overlord immediately muttered to himself, So my demon has even taken the blame for you, damn it. But Wang Maple was puzzled. If you cultivate demons, why don't you have a trace of demonic chi on your body? Xianlan nonchalantly explained. After each time I finish closed-door cultivation, I seal all the demonic chi in my body into the demon sealing order. The demon sealing order is originally used to seal demonic chi. So far, no one has been able to detect its intention of refining demons. As soon as the words fell, all the demon sealing orders on everyone's body flew towards Xianlan at the same time. After collecting all the demon sealing orders, Xianlan immediately burst into laughter. After years of hard cultivation, the demonic chi sealed on the demon sealing orders was already enough for him to advance to the Mystic Lord stage. But Xianlan has been hesitant because once he relies on demonic chi to advance to the Mystic Lord stage, he will forever be shackled by it. Xianlan will become the enemy of the immortal cultivation world. So Xianlan has been unable to make up his mind, but now you have helped Xianlan make a choice. As soon as the words fell, the demonic chi on the demon sealing order immediately exploded, engulfing Xianlan in it. The majestic demonic chi instantly broke through the sky with an incomparably great momentum. Wang Maple immediately commented upon seeing the scene. Who is the protagonist after all? Why are these antagonists so overpowered, each stronger than the last? At this moment, that demonic energy madly spun and surged towards Xianlan's body. But after just a moment, the demonic chi began to gradually dissipate. At this moment, Xianlan's appearance has undergone an earth-shattering change. Demonic runes have crawled all over his body. His expression is extremely fierce, and a violent aura bursts from top to bottom. At this moment, the mystic chi in Xianlan's body has been replaced by demonic chi. He has transformed into the demon's little gagas. Xianlan, the Grand General, was suddenly frightened. He turned out to be someone who refines demons. Even Elder Bamboo Strings is feeling somewhat hopeless. At this moment, Xianlan has turned into a demon. In order to avoid being surrounded by the strong of Celestial Wave Land, he will definitely have to kill Divine Descent City to keep his secret. Divine Descent City is bound to become a hell on earth. Feeling the terrifying aura emanating from Xianlan, Bamboo Lyre couldn't help but panic and asked Elder Bamboo Strings, "What should we do?" Without saying a word, Strings immediately turned around, grabbed Lyre, and started fleeing for their lives. As Xianlan looked at the cultivators below starting to flee in all directions, a fierce look immediately flashed across his face. He quickly picked up the long blade that contained surging demonic chi. Then he directly stabbed into the ground and said coldly, "Today, no one will survive in Divine Descent City." And those cultivators who are fleeing. However, they are preparing to leave Divine Descent City. All of them were irresistibly drawn to the burst of demonic chi unleashed by Xianlan. In just a blink of an eye, those cultivators were all shattered by the terrifying demonic chi. Floating Cloud couldn't help but exclaim in shock, "Sect leader, why did those fleeing experts fly back and actively collide with Xianlan's sword?" While Wang Maple calmly explained that it was because Xianlan reversed certain laws. Floating Cloud was instantly shocked, mouth wide open. Reversing laws, doesn't that mean Xianlan's cultivation level has reached the Mystic Lord stage? Wang Maple couldn't help but nod solemnly at the words. His current strength has reached the later Mystic Lord stage. The terrifying Mystic Lord stage demon only made a slight move. He actually used the power of law to make the sky collapse. Just now, Xianlan absorbed the demonic chi on the demon sealing order. He forcibly raised his cultivation level to the Mystic Lord stage pinnacle. Floating Cloud immediately became flustered and asked, "Sect leader, what should we do now?" However, Wang Maple remained calm and composed. He took the lead and shot out a stream of mystic chi indifferently. "I will hit first and then talk." Xianlan was caught off guard and instantly hit by that mystic chi. Instantly, Xianlan's body started to make cracking sounds. The whole person suddenly sank to the ground, as if countless times the gravity had suddenly increased on him, irresistibly sinking into the ground. But Xianlan suddenly shouted loudly and erupted crazily with mystic chi to slow down the sinking trend. Just the aftermath of the explosion caused the disciples of the Immortal Being Sect to retreat one after another. The ground in the whole area started to shatter and shake non-stop. In just a blink of an eye, the area centered around Xianlan was instantly shattered by the mystic chi, causing large pieces of land to break apart. Seeing that he could not prevent himself from sinking, Xianlan immediately said coldly, "Since you use the power of law to increase my weight and make me sink, then I will also fight fire with fire." The next second, suddenly, a majestic demonic chi burst out from Xianlan's body. But instead of attacking others, he directly infused the demonic chi into the sky. Upon seeing this, Li Black immediately said, "This is bad." Hearing this, little Fatty couldn't help but be surprised and said, "Junior brother, aren't you always calm? The sky hasn't fallen. Why are you panicking?" However, Li Black said seriously, "Senior disciple, look carefully. The sky has indeed fallen." Fatty hastily looked up at the sky as Li Black said, only to see that the sky was indeed as Li Black described. A huge piece of sky was actually plummeting straight down. And the falling speed was incredibly fast. In just a short moment, it was about to land in the city. But the fat man remained calm and said, "It's just some clouds, fluffy and white. They're so light, they won't kill anyone." As soon as he finished speaking, the collapsing sky fell onto the buildings in the city, but those buildings were barely touched. They were instantly crushed into pieces. People looked at the houses that were crushed into pieces. The little gagos in the city instantly panicked. Even the chubby guy who was calm just now had a huge change in his expression. He felt like he was about to meet his end here. Just at that moment, the mystic demon overlord suddenly took action. The demon staff expanded rapidly and directly propped up the collapsing sky. The other elders also used their own unique skills at the same time, trying to block it. At this moment, Wang Maple couldn't sit still anymore and immediately started to perform the Tathagata Dharma form. The Buddha's manifestation at the Mystic Lord stage is already countless levels stronger than the Mystic Emperor stage. The massive Buddha's manifestation, at the moment it rises from the ground, firmly supports the sky with both palms. The fat guy immediately got excited when he saw the situation. Sure enough, the sect leader and the elders are reliable. They can handle anything, even if the sky falls down. However, at that moment, when Ling Fly Dancing looked at Xianlan, suddenly his pupil shrank sharply. Only to see the demonic rune on Xianlan's body continue to extend and spread. The whole person erupted with a terrifying and violent aura. Then his hair and body began to spread indestructible scales. In the blink of an eye, Xianlan transformed into the demonic ape form, and with a quick movement of his feet, he broke free from the constraints of the power of law and lifted off the ground. The boy's wife unexpectedly suggested to fight side by side with him in the moment of crisis. She also informed him of the method to obtain the mystic nether fire Higanbana body. Just now, Wang Maple used the power of law to control demon Xianlan. But unexpectedly, Xianlan transformed into a demonic ape and easily broke free from Wang Maple's power of law. He even unleashed a formidable demonic chi. He turned around and charged towards Wang Maple with the Dharma form of the Buddha. In the moment he soared in midair, he suddenly clenched his fists, then aimed at the position where Wang Maple and others were located, and smashed down from above. In the moment when the Dharma form of the Buddha, who was barely supporting the sky, was struck by the demonic chi, it began to shatter inch by inch, losing the protection of the Dharma form. The elders of the Immortal Being Sect were also injured by the demonic chi. The gap between the two sides on the stage is just too big. Only the elders with the strength of Mystic Emperor stage. They can't even withstand a single blow. Xianlan then suddenly plummeted from the sky. The ground instantly cracked and collapsed. The terrain in the entire area underwent a huge change instantly, with boulders flying everywhere. Xianlan suddenly appeared in front of himself, and Wang Maple immediately thought to himself that something was wrong. Now that the sect point has been completely depleted, is it possible that our Immortal Being Sect is really going to perish today? However, at that moment, Yi Muqing suddenly arrived by Wang Maple's side and said, "Husband, I have a way to help you defeat Xianlan." Upon hearing this, Wang Maple was overjoyed. "Do you have any idea?" Yi Muqing immediately pointed to Higanbana Firefly and asked, "My lord, The Yellow Springs and Higanbana Firefly, don't you think their names are very similar? Upon hearing this, Wang Maple immediately looked towards Ling Fly Dancing in astonishment. Is there a connection between these two? Yi Muqing nodded and continued to explain. They both originate from the Yellow Springs. Once you obtain the Yellow Springs Higanbana, give it to the person who has Higanbana Firefly for consumption. Then, that person will be able to form the most terrifying physique in the world. Mystic Netherfire Higanbana Body. But Wang Maple is still very puzzled. With so many Mystic Netherfire Higanbana bodies in the world, why can it be called the most terrifying physique? Yi Muqing clapped his hands and smiled, saying that the Mystic Netherfire Higanbana body is said to enable one to grasp the power of lives and deaths, and it also has the ability to command the Yellow Springs Higanbana. Once Mystic Netherfire is unleashed, it can destroy the heavens and earth, unstoppable. Upon hearing this, Wang Maple's face immediately showed a look of shock. The power of lives and deaths is the most mysterious power in the world. Just a mere physique can enable one to control the power of lives and deaths. But to obtain the Mystic Netherfire Higanbana body, one must first obtain the Yellow Springs Higanbana. If one wants to obtain the Yellow Springs Higanbana, Ling Fly Dancing must first die. Wang Maple couldn't help but sigh. Now that only Ling Fly Dancing is left in the Ling family, how could he possibly harm his own disciple? So she faced Xianlan directly, and firmly stated without looking back. No, even if it takes all means, I must protect Ling Fly Dancing. But Xianlan suddenly shouted loudly, It's not up to you whether you can protect her or not. Then, he exerted force abruptly, stretched out his demon claw and charged towards Ling Fly Dancing. At this moment, Wang Maple had no choice but to use grafting flowers and branches. He used his own body as a substitute for Ling Fly Dancing. He was caught by Xianlan's demon claws. But Wang Maple still shouted in confusion. You have already advanced to the Mystic Lord stage, so why do you need to snatch the Yellow Springs Higanbana from Ling Fly Dancing? Xianlan chuckled and said, The Yellow Springs Higanbana possesses a special power. By consuming it, I can completely conceal my demonic chi. Once I kill you, no one can stop me from taking the Yellow Springs Higanbana. But Wang Maple won't just sit back and wait. Without hesitation, he signaled the system to use his last 5 random summoning chances. A void crack suddenly split open in an instant, and a man with disheveled hair, a tall and sturdy figure, and wielding a giant sword suddenly appeared from the void. Then he directly pierced the long sword into Xianlan's arm. He suddenly exerted force under his feet, and fiercely used the giant sword directly on Xianlan's body. A tremendously large scar was left behind. The first to appear was Xiao the 11th. Cultivation level, later Mystic Emperor stage. Mystic art, deer slashing blade technique. Mythic weapon, deer slashing blade. The intense pain in his body instantly sent Xianlan into a state of rage. He simply raised his hand and viciously slapped Xiao the 11th on the body. He easily defeated him. Wang Maple's face suddenly changed color upon seeing the situation. The difference in cultivation level is indeed too great. However, just at this moment, a golden spherical bead suddenly shot out from midair and landed straight on Xianlan's face. The one who made the move was none other than the second powerful being summoned. A monk in a robe, with a snowy white goatee and 2 curved white eyebrows. He looked elderly, but his skin was as tender as a baby's. His eyes held restrained sharpness. Name, No Indulgence Monk. Cultivation level, Mystic Emperor stage. Pinnacle Mystic art, No Indulgence 10 style. The boy had used up all summoning opportunities, and had originally planned to engage in a battle of attrition. He did not expect that Xianlan could actually turn damage into benefit. This time, the Immortal Being Sect finally encountered the most critical moment just when Wang Maple went all in on the opportunity to summon all the strong players. He summoned the No Indulgence Monk, who has reached the pinnacle of the Mystic Emperor stage, to turn the tide. But his No Indulgence Zen Pearl was effortlessly caught by Xianlan, which was unexpected. Seeing Xianlan biting his own Zen Pearl, he immediately used the blast style from the No Indulgence 10 style. At the moment when activated by the mystic chi, the Zen Pearl suddenly burst out with golden brilliance. The Zen Pearl exploded abruptly in Xianlan's mouth like this. But a stern look flashed in Xianlan's eyes. He spewed out a surge of demonic chi, directly attacking No Indulgence Monk. The gap between the two on the stage is just too big. No Indulgence Monk was only hit once, and sent flying. Even if he forcibly took on the No Indulgence 10 style, he did not cause any harm to Xianlan. But just at this moment, a crescent moon blade suddenly fell from the sky. The crescent moon blade viciously landed on Xianlan's arm. This was the third strongman summoned by Wang Maple, with the title Demon Blade, Dingpeng at the Mystic Emperor stage pinnacle cultivation level, proficient in mystic art Heaven Falling Star, Heaven and Earth in Strife, the Lament of Yin and Yang Divine Arts, Divine Blade Slash, and wields the mystic weapon Crescent Moon Blade. After taking a hit from the Heaven Falling Star, even Xianlan's arm was severely wounded. He couldn't help but be shocked and exclaimed, "What a sharp blade!" Just as Dingpeng was about to unleash the Divine Arts Divine Blade Slash with the Crescent Moon Blade after witnessing Xianlan's severe injury, Xianlan's severed arm suddenly made a clicking sound and merged back together. Then Xianlan suddenly rose up and lifted his hand, delivering a slash of demonic chi towards the Crescent Moon Blade. The moment Demon Blade fell, Crescent Moon Blade was instantly shattered. Just as the aftermath was about to reach Wang Maple, suddenly, a force pulled him out. Xianlan's eyes narrowed when he saw the situation. Are there any masters here? Leading the way is Eastward Invincible, with the title of Master of the Sun and Moon Cult. His cultivation level is at the half-step Mystic Lord stage, practicing the Mystic Art Sunflower Manual and Divine Art Celestial and Mortal Creation, with the mythic weapon of an embroidered needle. Following closely behind is Xiaxiofeng, known as the third young master of Immortal Sword and the #1 sword in the world. He is at the later Mystic Emperor stage of cultivation, mastering the mystic art earth-shattering all-consuming flame and divine arts heaven-stealing, sun-swapping sword seizure technique. Eastward Invincible takes the lead, making the first move by lightly pinching the orchid finger on his hand, instantly summoning the embroidered needle. With a single wave from him, countless cold rays of light burst forth in an instant. The embroidered needle shot towards Xianlan at an attack speed so fast that it was almost invisible. Countless tiny embroidered needles pierced through Xianlan's body at an unparalleled terrifying speed, forcibly stitching his limbs together. At the same time, Xiaxiofeng also drew out his own sword and directly targeted Xianlan. Xiaxiofeng made a full-force attack with one strike, swinging out earth-shattering and all-consuming flame at the same time. He directly chopped Xianlan into several tens of pieces. The terrifying sword chi not only cut him into pieces, but also continuously burned his flesh. Upon seeing this, Li Qing burst into laughter immediately. Chop that gorilla into pieces. Back to Wang Maple, suddenly screamed in horror. Oh no, quickly hide! He's going to use Heavenly Demon Merge on you. When it is too late, Xianlan, who has been divided, suddenly separates the fragments quickly, and then surrounds Xiaxiofeng and Eastward Invincible. The two of them have no chance to escape at all, and are directly forcibly merged by Xianlan. In the blink of an eye, Xianlan completed the Heavenly Demon Merge, merging the two half-step Mystic Lord stage powerhouses. His body size instantly swelled. Yi Muqing immediately showed concern upon seeing this. He originally thought that the battle of attrition would leave him seriously injured. This way, it can at least narrow the gap between the husband and Xianlan's stage. As a result, because Xianlan can reverse the rules, turning harm into benefit, it actually makes Xianlan's cultivation level increase. Xianlan then looks towards Wang Maple with a ferocious smile and says, Sect Leader Wang, do you still have any experts by your side? Facing the reset random summon count, Wang Maple suddenly smiles awkwardly and says, No, I don't have any left. He did not give up, but instead decided not to let the 5 elders sacrifice in vain. Xianlan finally showed a satisfied smile when he saw that Wang Maple was unable to come up with a plan. Without hesitation, he raised his incredibly massive foot and stomped down with force, then coldly declared, "From this moment on, there will be no more Immortal Being Sect in Celestial Waveland." With this attack, Immortal Being Sect finally faced the crisis of being annihilated. At present, there is only one strong individual left in the sect, Wang Maple. The boy used all his tricks, thinking he could defeat the demon. But he didn't expect that he was one move short. He let the disciple of the sect die tragically in front of him. Just now, all the experts summoned by Wang Maple were killed instantly by Xianlan. Currently, facing Xianlan's attack, everyone is unable to move. Fatty Li Qing couldn't help but let out a scream. "I don't want to die yet!" Just when Fatty thought he was done for, Ling Fly Dancing suddenly said softly, "Grand Senior Disciple, quickly open your eyes, we are saved." Fatty was stunned to see that he was still alive. What's going on? Then Fatty quickly looked toward the location where Xianlan was. He saw Xianlan's massive figure. He began to petrify at a speed visible to the naked eye. He was dumbfounded instantly. Xianlan couldn't help but let out an angry roar. This is the Jade Transmutation Seal of Heir Apparent. Wang Maple immediately grinned when he heard that. He nodded proudly and said, "Yes, the reason I summoned the 5 elders just now was to force you to use the Heavenly Demon Dissolution Technique, so that I can let the Higanbana Firefly sneak into your body, using the Jade Transmutation Seal discreetly without anyone knowing, watching as one's body is about to completely turn into jade." Xianlan immediately let out an unwilling roar. Just a moment. Originally aloof Xianlan turned into a jade sculpture. He stood there like this on the ground. When he saw the successful plan, Wang Maple immediately beckoned with his finger to signal Higanbana Firefly to come back. And the proud Higanbana Firefly, who had completed the mission, flew back holding the Jade Transmutation Seal. After retrieving it, Wang Maple sighed in relief. "I finally got rid of this demon head." The fat man burst into laughter when he saw it. "It's great that Junior Sister is finally safe this time." However, Yimuching let out a sigh at this moment. "Husband, it is impossible to seal the strong at the Mystic Lord stage pinnacle." As soon as the words fell, the jade stone covering Xianlan's body immediately began to emit a faint cracking sound. Upon hearing this, Fatty immediately panicked and said, "Sect leader, this demon is still sealed. Let's escape quickly." But Wang Maple shook his head. "Unless we defeat him, no one can escape from the Divine Descent City." As soon as the words fell, Ling Fly Dancing suddenly knelt down on the ground, trembling all over, and said, "After sacrificing several elders, is it still not working?" And Wang Maple is not planning to give up. Since the palm of the Tathagata cannot win, let's try the sword of the Tathagata. When the Tathagata Dharma form appears, he immediately strikes a palm horizontally, using his divine palm to execute his strongest sword move. The power of this move is incredibly immense, and Xianlan's body instantly splits in half. Seeing this scene, all disciples of the Immortal Being Sect were dumbfounded. Everyone did not expect that the sect leader still had such a big move. But Wang Maple keenly noticed that something was wrong. He looked at the pile of broken jade with an unpleasant expression and asked, "Where is Xianlan?" Suddenly, the ground around them exploded with a deafening noise. Xianlan, who had been demonized, suddenly burst out from underground and grabbed Ling Fly Dancing. Seeing Xianlan's fierce appearance, Ling Fly Dancing knew that she would definitely not be able to escape from the clutches of the demon this time. So, at the last moment, she hurriedly shouted towards the fat man, "Grand Senior Disciple, remember what you just promised me." After speaking, a look of reluctance appeared on her face. She glanced around at the crowd from the Immortal Being Sect. And at that moment, Xianlan's other hand also came crashing down, directly smashing onto her body. Watching Ling Fly Dancing fall in front of him like this, everyone in the Immortal Being Sect was completely stunned. Wang Maple felt extreme pain, that was his own disciple whom he had personally accepted. And in the moment when Ling Fly Dancing fell, Higanbana suddenly appeared from within her, just in the blink of an eye. The golden Higanbana completely separated from her body and floated in front of Xianlan. Absorb, absorb. The man finally successfully integrated the legendary mystic Netherfire Higanbana body. Just now, Wang Maple witnessed Ling Fly Dancing being killed on the spot by Xianlan. He immediately felt extremely painful. I was just talking big. I, Immortal Being Sect, have to rely on sacrificing the lives of disciples to protect. What qualifications do I have to call myself Immortal Being Sect? At that moment, Li Qing suddenly flew towards Wang Maple and shouted decisively, "Sect leader, junior sister, you entrusted me before. If anything happens, I must take back the Yellow Springs Higanbana and give it to you. Now, as the grand senior disciple, I should fulfill my promise." As soon as the words fell, Li Qing used grafting flowers and branches to transfer the Yellow Springs Higanbana through himself. Ling Fly Dancing's body and the Higanbana instantly began to rapidly dissipate. Watching as Li Qing actually transferred himself away to snatch the Higanbana, Wang Maple immediately wanted to speak up to stop him. But before he could make a sound, Li Qing's body had already disappeared, and that Higanbana instantly appeared in front of him. Xianlan saw the duck in his hand actually flew away, immediately snorted coldly, "Daring to use grafting flowers and branches to ruin my good deed, damn it!" His angry voice had just fallen, and he suddenly clapped his palms together, intending to slap Li Qing, the troublemaker, to death. But Li Qing has a sturdy physique. He quickly activated his spiritual body to resist with all his might and struggled to speak. "Sect leader, I don't know how long my mystic spirit turtle immortal body can hold. Please don't let junior sister die in vain." After saying that, Li Qing couldn't help but spew out a large mouthful of blood. Obviously, with his strength, he won't be able to last much longer. And at this moment, Yi Muqing also spoke up to remind her husband that the only way to defeat Xianlan is to take the Yellow Springs Higanbana to obtain the mystic Netherfire Higanbana body. Looking at the Higanbana in front of him, Wang Maple fell silent instantly. Then, with determination in his eyes, he declared, "Ling Fly Dancing, I will avenge you immediately." The Yellow Springs Higanbana immediately turned into golden light and flowed into Wang Maple's body as his thoughts transmitted. In just the blink of an eye, the energy transformed by the Yellow Springs Higanbana circulated a great cycle within Wang Maple's body. However, it did not stop, and the light around Wang Maple grew even denser. The light continues to circulate within his body. As the energy circulates, Wang Maple's body becomes increasingly crystal clear, emitting a fragrance from within. This is not an increase in cultivation level, but the shaping and refining of oneself. The energy seems to be circulating unconsciously within Wang Maple's body, following a specific pattern. The light spots scattered from him and embedded in his body are not ordinary light spots. At this moment, Wang Maple is surrounded by a golden aura, accompanied by a fragrance that seems to cleanse him of worldly impurities, making him ethereal like an immortal. The golden runes surrounding him also continuously flow into his body. Seeing Wang Maple absorbing the Yellow Springs Higanbana in front of him, Xianlan immediately couldn't sit still. He quickly reached out to try to interrupt his absorption. Facing the giant hand, Xianlan exerted all his strength to strike. Wang Maple remained motionless. The mystic Netherfire Higanbana body created by the boy. He actually mastered the legendary power of lives and deaths. Just now, Xianlan watched as Wang Maple actually absorbed the Yellow Springs Higanbana in front of him. He was so angry that he wanted to intervene directly. But Wang Maple simply extended a finger casually, and the golden light around him instantly gathered towards his fingertip. In the blink of an eye, those densely packed golden lights condensed into a golden giant fist. With a casual movement from Wang Maple, the golden giant fist immediately swung out and directly smashed into Xianlan's face. Feeling the intense pain on his face, Xianlan couldn't help but let out a scream immediately. The hands that were tightly closed loosened at this moment, and his body under the bombardment of golden light. the huge fleshy body was suddenly blasted out. Next was his massive skeleton. Then the fine blood vessels and nerves inside his body. This scene left everyone below wide-eyed, never expected that this punch would actually directly disintegrate Xianlan's body. Even Xianlan himself was deeply shocked, completely clueless about what kind of power this is. And Wang Maple pointed at Xianlan and coldly said, "This is the power of lives and deaths." The mystic demon overlord is now dumbfounded. Is this the power of the mystic nether fire Higanbana body that can kill a strong mystic lord stage pinnacle with just one strike? However, Wang Maple shook his head indifferently and said, "No, he's not dead yet." As soon as he finished speaking, endless demonic chi suddenly emerged from Xianlan, and his body mysteriously restored to its original state. In just the blink of an eye, his body healed as good as new. However, Xianlan was somewhat fortunate and said, "Fortunately, I used the power of law to reverse life and death so that I could come back to life. As long as I still possess the cultivation level of the Mystic Lord stage pinnacle, you cannot kill me." Wang Maple, however, coldly said from a position of superiority, "Then I will make you lose the cultivation level of the Mystic Lord stage pinnacle and then kill you." Just as the words fell, the flesh, bones, and other things disintegrated under Xianlan's body. Actually, the body rapidly began to condense, and in just the blink of an eye, 5 more Xianlan appeared out of thin air. The sudden turn of events left all Xianlan feeling extremely confused, with no idea of what was really going on. Wang Maple activated the mystic chi once again and coldly said, "I will use the power of lives and deaths to turn 1 Xianlan into 5 Xianlan." Xianlan laughed heartily this time. "Even if you couldn't kill one of me, you still want to create 5 of me." Just as the words fell, Wang Maple's fingertips shot out a terrifying golden light. Treat Xianlan like a kebab and directly pierce all 5 Xianlans through. Then he coldly spoke again. "Just because we can't kill one of you doesn't mean we can't kill all 5 of you, Xianlan." Wang Maple has no idea what he's doing. And Wang Maple couldn't be bothered to argue with him. With a move of his hand, a golden light instantly split the 5 Xianlan apart. Immediately, cries of pain from Xianlan rang out in the air, clearly indicating that he was seriously injured by this blow. The golden light that fell down did not dissipate, but instead started spinning wildly, transforming into a golden large ring. At this moment, Xianlan looked at his severed arm and instantly revealed a look of fear. Why is it like this? Why can't I cheat death this time? Actions of the Immortal Being Sect actually prompted Solar Radiant's Grand Emperor to launch a national war against them. Just moments ago, Xianlan accidentally discovered that he couldn't actually reverse the rules. So he gritted his teeth and said, "Why is this happening? Why can't I reverse life and death this time? Does this have anything to do with the fact that I will eventually become 5 people?" Wang Maple immediately showed a faint sneer when he heard the words. 1 Xianlan has the cultivation level of Mystic Lord stage pinnacle, but after the cultivation level is divided among 5 Xianlans, each person only has the cultivation level of the mid-stage of the Mystic Lord stage. When your cultivation level drops from Mystic Lord stage pinnacle to the mid-stage of the Mystic Lord stage, you will no longer be able to reverse the laws, cannot reverse life and death, so you will not be able to die and be reborn. Just as the voice fell, countless golden lights suddenly shot out from Wang Maple's body. The golden light surrounded the 5 Xianlan in circles. Xianlan, feeling the oppression of death, was no longer calm. Where did this damn Immortal Being Sect come from? Facing his question, Wang Maple no longer intended to continue wasting time on him. As his finger pointed slightly, Higanbana Firefly immediately understood Wang Maple's meaning. Countless Higanbana Fireflies produced by Higanbana Firefly. They immediately rushed towards Xianlan. Due to the decrease in cultivation level, even 5 Xianlans have no resistance at all. Wherever the Higanbana Firefly goes, bodies are torn apart. In just a blink of an eye, all of Xianlan will be torn apart by the Higanbana Firefly. Xianlan never understood what kind of monster he was facing until he died. After tearing Xianlan into pieces, Wang Maple slowly descended from the air. But he once again activated the power of the Higanbana Firefly Body's power of lives and deaths, injecting the power of lives and deaths into Ling Flydancing's body. The next moment, Ling Flydancing, who was originally fatally wounded, suddenly opened his eyes. After she groggily sat up, she found that everyone from the Immortal Being Sect was looking at her, and she was instantly puzzled. Was she dreaming? Fatty immediately spoke up to explain to her. Junior sister, you are not dreaming. The sect leader has resurrected you. Wang Maple couldn't help but cough lightly in embarrassment. Although I revived you, the Ling family's legendary artifact, the Yellow Springs Higanbana, has been absorbed by me as a result. Ling Flydancing didn't mind at all. For me, Ling Flydancing, to be able to die and come back to life is already a great blessing. The Yellow Springs Higanbana can only unleash its greatest power in the hands of the sect leader. And at this moment, all the elders who were defeated by Xianlan also spoke in unison, expressing their gratitude to the sect leader for resurrecting them. Wang Maple immediately waved his hand and said, You died for the Immortal Being Sect. Even if I have to personally go to hell, I will still bring you back to life. Even Strings and Bamboo Lyre, who were killed by Xianlan, were effortlessly brought back to life by Wang Maple. Strings was stunned, as it was astonishing to resurrect the dead. Such divine arts existed in the world. However, Bamboo Lyre directly asked sect leader Wang, Why are you willing to resurrect the two of us? Wang Maple took out a gold card and said indifferently, Consider it as a token of appreciation for the Platinum VIP card you gifted. Although saying so on the surface, Wang Maple secretly thought in his heart, Even though I'm showing off my Immortal Being Sect today, if all the spectators are dead, who will spread the fame of my Immortal Being Sect? And String's face had already become serious, as there was actually someone who could defeat a powerhouse at the Mystic Lord stage pinnacle. In this Solar Radiance Empire, I'm afraid that besides the Solar Radiance Grand Emperor, no one dares to provoke this Immortal Being Sect anymore. The scene suddenly shifts to the Solar Radiance Palace. The Solar Radiance Grand Emperor, who was originally in seclusion, suddenly emerged and summoned all the ministers. All civil and military officials gathered at the entrance of the hall to respectfully welcome the emergence of the Solar Radiance Grand Emperor. Before long, a thin, slightly elderly man entered. He is none other than the Emperor Solar Radiance Grand Emperor of the Solar Radiance Empire. As soon as he took a seat, he went straight to the point. I have called you all here today to announce the beginning of the national war. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was shocked by it. Empire Left Chancellor Ning Chonggong immediately inquired about what had happened and why there was a need to initiate a national war. The Solar Radiance Empire then solemnly stated that they had encountered a formidable enemy this time, and it would require the combined efforts of the entire nation to deal with it. Initially, it destroyed the Kirin army and Marquis Xianlan in the Starshine Mountains, and then it also killed the heir apparent in the Divine Fallen Ancient Land. Then he destroyed the Flame Army again. In the end, he even killed General Xianlan, who relied on refining demons to reach the pinnacle of the Mystic Lord stage. When this remark was made, the Right Chancellor Zhongyong quickly asked, Your Majesty, is it the Divine Wind Empire or the Azure Cloud Empire behind this? Could it be that the two Grand Empires are joining forces? But the Solar Radiance Grand Emperor shook his head and said, No, it's not. It's just a rebellious thief from the sect of immortal beings within my empire. Upon hearing this, Zhongyong was shocked, his mouth wide open in disbelief. A mere sect could actually defeat two of our top armies, even killing General Xianlan Ning Chonggong. This news also worries me. Since the establishment of my Solar Radiance Empire, we have only engaged in national wars. Doesn't that mean that the Immortal Being Sect has the power equivalent to a nation? At the same time, Wang Maple, who returned to the Immortal Being Sect, has also gathered all the people of the sect. Everyone sees that Wang Maple has actually organized such a big scene. Chubby Li Qing was the first to question if the sect leader summoned us for something. And Wang Maple raised an eyebrow with a solemn expression, saying that Solar Radiance Grand Emperor is leading the troops to personally attack Immortal Being Sect. By then, there will also be casualties from Immortal Being Sect. Is everyone feeling scared? Upon hearing this, Ling Fly Dancing immediately stood up. We believe in this sect leader, and believe in the Immortal Being Sect. Wang Maple stood up very satisfied immediately. I'm Immortal Being Sect is about to confront a nation with the power of a sect. As long as we win this battle. Today, from the Solar Radiance Empire to the entire Celestial Wave Land, no one dares to provoke my Immortal Being Sect anymore.